But I want to start with what is the number one thing that you should look for in an agent.
Okay.
And that is expertise in the market area that you're looking in. And what I mean by that is real local expertise, because we live in Houston. Houston's a big city. You know, they say Houston's an hour from Houston.
Usually two.
Yeah, quite honestly true. Sometimes more. But we're down here in League City, and League City is, you know, let's just say, so for those that don't know, 30 minutes southeast of Houston and 30 minutes northwest of Galveston. So we're kind of in that southeastern pocket of Houston, and we sell, our team as a whole does about 450 homes a year. And probably 325 of those are within a 15-mile radius of our office. You know, what does that tell you? Of course, I'm licensed in the entire state of Texas, and I'm a member of the local Houston MLS. I can sell a home in Cypress, which is an hour and 15 minutes. I can sell a home in Katy, which is just over an hour.
Yeah.
But I like to focus on my local business. And why does that matter? Well, Galveston County, for example, requires windstorm insurance. Taxes are a little bit different here, neighborhood to neighborhood. For example, the neighborhood that we're in right now at your house filming this video, the tax rate is 1.8%, and you go down the road to one of the new builds and it's 3.7.
Right.
That makes a huge difference on your monthly mortgage payment. Also, if you're listing your home for sale, you need to know what the market comps look like, and not just the market comps, what's the market absorption rate? Meaning, as you know, when you look at how many homes are on the market versus how many are being sold per month, if no new homes were to enter the market, we have 2 months of inventory, we have 6 months of inventory, and there may be a specific part of the Houston metro area that's a seller's market, and you could drive an hour away and it's a strong buyer's market. So I think local expertise is something that you really need to look for. Because if you just go to Google and you say great real estate agents in Houston, somebody may come up on the Woodlands who is a fantastic agent, who sells more homes than I do on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
But if you're looking in the area that I specialize in, and it is my area of expertise, he's not going to be able to give you the nuance and the detail that you need in the specific market area.
You know, to give kind of just an example of what you're talking about, you know, I remember buying a house one time, and we didn't really know the area, and so we relied on the expertise of our real estate agent, who was from an area near the area.
Yeah.
She wasn't from the area. She was from, you know, you get the idea, right? And we moved in, and we discovered pretty quickly that we were the youngest couple by a mile.
You skated through the 55 and up community.
Yeah, we were in our early 20s, 22, 23 years old. And our closest to us in age was 65 years old.
Good Lord. Wow.
Lady next door was 65.
That's a great example of local expertise. So I think I would gear more heavily towards an agent who is a local expert rather than the mega agent, quote unquote, that's in the area, unless the mega agent happens to also be a local expert, which brings me to the second thing that you should ask an agent when you're interviewing. And by the way, I do think you should interview agents before you just book a tour to go see a home. Right. I think that's very important. I think you need to find out what that agent does to differentiate. But the second question that I really think is very important to ask is, what sort of volume in business do you do? And if an agent's uncomfortable sharing that information, they probably don't do a lot of volume in business. One thing about us agents is there's no shortage of gloating in this industry. If you sell a lot of houses, like, you're going to let everybody know that you sell a lot of houses, you know, both in social settings and on social media and anywhere else that you have the opportunity. You need to find out, you know, what sort of business and volume they're doing. Buying a home for most people, or selling a home for that matter, is one of the biggest expenses that they have in their entire lifetime. And they only do it a handful of times. And so you need to work with somebody that knows what the hell they're doing.
And I think it's interesting because, you know, so many people just think like, you know, it was Rocket Mortgage back in the day, you know, push button, get mortgage.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. And you push a button and you'd be talking to somebody in, I don't know, Minneapolis. You're buying a house in, you know, Texas. You know, and the same thing goes for agents. I have a deal right now where the listing agent is in Mississippi.
No kidding.
Just has her Texas license and happens to have this listing. And I'm not sure how that even works. But I mean, how good of an agent is that if they're in another state, far away from here, listing a house here. They don't
Not
know that
good.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want to be your buyer's agent because I mean they don't know what they're selling.
Exactly. And the one caveat I will say to that, because people, when I say that, people ask me all the time, well, Stephen, you're a partner in a real estate team. You hire brand new agents. How do you reconcile that? And I'll tell you exactly how. We have a program on our team where if you're a brand new agent, you must be mentored for your first 5 deals by a senior agent on the team.
Yeah.
So I don't say that to say, completely discount a new agent. But you need to ask them the follow-up to that question, because if the answer to the question is, I don't do that many deals, I'm just starting, maybe I haven't sold a deal yet, that doesn't necessarily wipe them off the list. But it's a very important follow-up question to that. How do you plan to guide me through this process since you're so new to the business? We have a whole thing that we go through, our buyer care package. We use a mentor system. We have a team. You can lean on 30 different agents. Myself as a team lead and my business partner are there to answer any questions. We jump in when the time is necessary, and we have that structure in place. So don't discount the new agent, but make sure that there's a mentorship structure in place if the deal, inevitably all deals get complicated, some more than others, but you need to have that security blanket.
So it's almost like if somebody, tells you, hey, I'm a brand new agent, and they're honest with you, which is great.
Yeah.
Hopefully they are being honest with you, right?
Exactly.
But if they've got a backup team, somebody behind them, then that's probably okay.
I mean, I was on a Southwest flight coming back from a real estate conference in Charleston last week, and the co-pilot appeared to be about 18 years old. I'm exaggerating, but he was very young. The pilot, exactly what you think of when you think of a pilot. Gray hair, a little balding on the top, big forearms. Like, okay, this young man is trying to make his way in his career. Probably feel more comfortable seeing that old guy in the cockpit with him. That's just me. You know what I mean? So
probably, yeah.
It's you need to have that sort of mentorship. Now, if it's just the young guy, the 18-year-old kid in the cockpit, and you look in there and there's nobody else in there, you're like, oh, hope we make it, But you don't want to be in that position in a real estate transaction or a plane for that matter. So having the contingency of what happens when things get complicated. And if that question can be answered in a satisfactory way, please feel free to move forward with the new agent if you feel comfortable. And then that brings me to number 3, which in my opinion is by far the most important. And this will actually be the one that disqualifies a lot of agents with a track record. I always train my new agents to be a protector and an advisor of their clients, and not a greasy, slimy salesman.
Right.
If you speak to a realtor and they give you the vibe of that TV, slick back hair, used car salesman, run. Because especially if they do a lot of transactions, because they're very good at what they do. And if if high pressure sales is what they do, you're combating against somebody who does this on a day in and day out basis, and this may be your first time doing it, you don't stand much of a chance. What I like to teach my agents when you're walking through a house, don't oversell the house. Walk into the house and don't be too opinionated either, but walk into the house and say, as I was walking, I felt a little bit of unevenness in the floor and I saw some cracking in the walls. It may be nothing, but just if this were to be the house that you wanted to move forward with, I would have a foundation expert come out and take a look at it just so we know what we're getting into. Things like that kind of allows the client to feel comfortable. And because I'm speaking to a prospective buyer here in this video, look for the agent that you felt like that person would protect me in a transaction. That person would advise me in a transaction. They didn't open their mouth and their breaths reeks of commission breath. That's a term in the industry. So that's the most important thing. And I would tell a buyer, take an agent that's done 10 transactions last year, who is going to be an advisor, who speaks to you on a level that you understand, who's going to protect you over the used car salesman that sold 50 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Right. There's an agent on your team that for a long time, and she just cares for people.
Yeah.
Like she just, and I've referred people to her over and over and over. And when
I was wondering where all that referral business. 'Cause
Right.
my phone, I thought I was beginning to think something was wrong with
her
my
name
phone.
was not Steven. But anyway, she's still on the team. And when I really realized how much she cared, she called one day and she's like, "Hey, I know you go to closings, but this is like 2 hours away. It's down on the peninsula, if you're familiar with the geography of Houston and Galveston at all. It's down there in Bolivar, and that's not a close destination."
Is there even a title company in Bolivar?
There is. Actually, I think there's now 2 of them. For a long time, there was just one.
No kidding.
And
Take
so
the ferry to work, right?
everybody had to use the one, and there was only one bank as well.
No kidding.
So, but anyway, we drove down there together. She drove, and we just had great conversation, and then we met the buyer at the house to do the walkthrough, and it was amazing to see her. They're talking about the house and pointing out different things, and the buyer's all excited because this is going to be the beach house that their family has holidays at and things, and it was to see the genuine caring of that individual for the buyer. But just on the same note, she's also a tough negotiator.
Yeah.
Like she cares about them and she wants them to get a good deal. And she's even called me on occasion and like, "Mark, I don't know, like, is that going to be okay? Or like, what? I'm worried here, and she trusts me. We've done business forever, but she cares about her clients so much that, she'll even question me and like, "Hey, are you sure that's right?" or whatever. And that kind of agent is priceless.
Yeah, it's 100% priceless.
Yeah.
That agent that makes you feel like they're looking out for your best interest. They're just not looking to drag you to the closing table so that they can get paid. That's what you're looking for. And to me, that's above all. That's above experience. That's above anything else that I discussed on this video is find that person that makes you feel comfortable, that you don't feel like you need to take a shower after you speak to them, which there are those in our industry.
And a way that I might put it is if you find an agent and you wouldn't have them work with your grandmother, that's probably not the agent you want.
That's better than I could have even said it. Yep. And if you guys are looking for an agent and you're in the Houston area, I would love to have the opportunity to earn your business. Mark would obviously love to do your loan. If you're not, we have an amazing referral network of both agents and loan officers. Shoot us a message. We'll put a link in the description where you can contact either one of us. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching the video.
And if you want the name of that other agent, just call me. I'll let you know. Don't let Steven know. It's okay.
I want to know who he's giving all his referrals to because it's not me. Yeah.